Hi, my name is Felix, and if you have a lot of different interests and actually something might be popping off for you right now and you start to make some money with it or something is just going well, there's a very high likelihood and chance that you will absolutely ruin it and you will destroy it in the next 6 to 12 months. And you go back to the drawing board and you start the next thing and you start something from scratch again. And in this video, I'm going to analyze and share my thoughts on why this exactly happens and how you can avoid it so you're not falling for the trap and you're actually getting somewhere and you're making something long-term successful. Let's take the example that you started to get into gardening, okay? You've been really into gardening and it's a passion of you and you always wanted to do it and you actually started to get really good at it. And suddenly other people are coming and asking you like, hey, can you teach me some gardening? And you start to do some coaching on gardening, okay? Maybe you start to create some content on it. Maybe you start a community, you have people joining and something starts to pop off. You are getting really good at something. People see you and perceive you as the expert at the thing and things are going well. And you started out here and let's actually draw a graph. You're kind of like this, okay? It keeps moving up and it keeps growing. Maybe you make some cash with it. Maybe you generate some income from your communities or your courses or your content or anything, your PDFs that you sell on gardening. Now, there's an extremely high chance that, especially if you have a lot of different interests, that you will absolutely ruin it and it starts to actually go like this. Or maybe it's a little bit of a slow death, maybe like this. But essentially, it will probably go down. And the reason is, why? Why does this happen? And the first point that I see is that a lot of people with many different interests, the moment they start getting up here, they start to get into this rush. There's some enthusiasm, there's some excitement, there's this feeling of like, wow, it's going amazing for me. I can take on more, I can make this successful, and you start to overestimate what you can do. And you start to get more distracted. Before, you were just, this your energy and your focus, you were just focused on gardening. You were like really into gardening, you're like, hey, let me just do this and let me give it a try, and you were just doing this. But then you started to get more momentum, things started working, and you started to take on more stuff. Maybe you started to get more into online marketing because you needed to do this in order to make it more successful. Maybe you also have a friend that asked you to do something else and you started going there as well. Maybe then you saw, hey man, if I write a book, I have more fun. So you start to write a book. You start to maybe even go into public speaking because you believe like it's really interesting and maybe this can do something for my gardening thing. And you start to get absolutely distracted and you have shiny object syndrome. And because of it, you start to get spread thin, like super hard, and you start to lose the focus that you have that made you once build up momentum at the thing. And you start to lose it and it starts to go down simply for the reason that you start to become shiny object syndrome and you start to be more distracted. So the best way to cope this is to make sure that you won't get distracted. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's much more easier for you to avoid getting distracted than for you to focus and to stay focused on the one thing. So if you just avoid getting distracted and avoid taking on new things that will get you to like different ideas and make it more complex and stuff like this, then you're already pretty far ahead and you will probably keep moving up there, okay? How do you do this? The best way, if you have a lot of different interests and you're creative and things like this, is to just have a list for ideas. Just have a Notion board or just have a Google Doc where you just put in all those different ideas that you have and you just write them down and you just let them sit there. And in your mind, you kind of have this as a safe place where you can put all your ideas and you can store them there and nothing will happen. And whenever you're ready and you kind of made sure you closed it up, you can go back to your idea list and you pick something out and you start to whatever, take the first one, and this becomes your new point of focus, and you start to focus on this. Boom. There you go. Okay. Then the second thing is, once you start to get up here and it starts to work a little bit, there will be some point where you start to have crazy self-doubt, or even if it just starts to pop off and maybe you have a little dip where it goes down a little bit, whatever it is, but there will be self-doubt. It's pretty sure, especially if you're creative, emotional, you have a lot of different interests. There will be points where you just think this won't work, this won't keep going, like this is too good for me. You start to feel unworthy, like all these emotional blockages that come up, even if it's self-worth, self-doubt, whatever it is, they will come up and you have to watch out for them. They will get you because they sound so believable. And here, in order to avoid falling for the trap, because the thing is here that you start self-doubt, it starts with like small thoughts that you get. It's like you start to, okay, what if this doesn't work out? What if this won't keep going like this? What if I'm not good enough? What if I waste all the money? What if people won't buy this? What if people judge me? What if I would be more successful at another thing? What if I'm wasting my time and my purpose is actually not gardening, but maybe photography or writing, and I'm wasting my life here and I'm getting good at the wrong thing? What if? And you start to get these thoughts, and you have to be super aware of them, because the moment you start to allow them and they slip in your mind, they start to spiral. In the beginning, it's just like this, okay? What if my purpose is actually this and not this? But then if you let them slide and you're not aware of them, they start to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you actually quit. And we want to avoid that. So what you do in order to not let them blow up is, whenever you have thoughts of self-doubts, and I know this sounds very simplistic, but it works super well. I remember in times when I use them, not to go into like all the specifics, but they work. You just have these thoughts, and you can write them down as well, your self-doubts, and you just, in your mind, say to yourself, whatever. Okay, if writing is my purpose and I'm doing gardening right now and I'm wasting my life, whatever. So what? Who cares? Doesn't matter. It does not matter. Whatever. And by doing this, you're really taking all the power away from these thoughts, and they just go away. And even if you want to take it up a notch, you ask for more, and you're just like, okay, let me waste even more time. Let me waste even more of my purpose. Give me more. Give me more self-doubt. Give me more thoughts. Give me more purpose wasting time. All these different things. Just give me more. And by doing this, you're allowing yourself to like really take out all the oxygen for these thoughts to blossom, and they will die out slowly but surely until you are pretty much free of them and you can just keep moving up. Okay? This is the second thing. The third thing is actually very simple as well. But okay, the third thing, and this is the biggest one. Once you start getting up here, there will come a point when you start to lose interest. And this one is extremely tricky. I know. Because the thing is, you start out here with like excitement. It's this new exciting hobby. Everything feels amazing. Maybe it works out. Maybe it's starting to really pop off. But at some point, even up here, maybe somewhere, you start to just lose your interest. And once you do, it's often that you stop working and you stop putting in the effort that it actually has gotten you there, and you start to go down. Okay? And the problem is that while you started to get up here, the main thing is that everything was reliant on you. That is exactly the reason why so many YouTubers do videos on I burned out or I can't do this anymore. It's because everything was attached to them and everything was dependent on them. And once they started to lose interest and they didn't have the energy anymore, or they didn't want to do it anymore, the whole thing came crashing down, simply because everything was reliant on them. And in order to cope with this, you have to do something that might come a little bit unnatural for you and might not be the thing you love doing the most, but it's so crucial. You have to start building some type of systems or something that allows you to deliver the result systematically rather than personally, okay? So let's just take the example of copywriting. So if I'm the copywriter, then the whole thing works out as long as I keep writing copies. If I keep writing copies and I keep writing good copies and I up myself every single time and I get better and better, clients pay me, clients are happy, clients are doing well, and everything's working out. But the moment I start to get sick of it and I lose interest of it, or I need a longer break, things are getting down. Because my results are getting off, my clients aren't making as much money from my copies, not delivering as much value, all these different things, and things are going down. And slowly but surely, it starts to crash. What I need to do here then, in order to keep pumping this up, or at least to, once I lose the interest, it just plateaus, okay? And then after time, and this is usually the thing, usually you lose the interest for a certain period of time, but then after a time it comes back and it stays with you sometimes. Some things are just like short fade, but a lot of different things, they keep coming back. You just have moments and phases where you're not interested in that particular thing. But once this plateau comes, it needs to be a plateau, and then you start to have interest again and you can keep pushing it up. In order to have this plateau here and not to completely crash, you need to have some type of system. So again, you're able to deliver the result systematically rather than personally. So for example, here, maybe I can build an AI agent that allows me to write in like 5 minutes instead of 3 hours. Maybe I can also just hire some writer that allows me to do this. Maybe I build some systems so I write these things in 10 minutes instead of 60 minutes. All these different things allow me to get the result even if I don't feel it and I'm not interested in it anymore. And by avoiding these 3 things, you're actually making sure that this graph keeps going up once you found something and once you like really pop off at something, and you're not just randomly getting distracted and you're like, okay, let me move on to the next thing, and then you keep running in circles. And if you like these kinds of videos, then consider subscribing to my channel. I also have more videos on my channel on these kinds of topics, so you probably are interested in this. So just go over to my channel and check out all my other videos on these things to really get a deeper look on how to overcome this and how to build something even with a lot of different interests. And lastly, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.